So why wasn't it good?
So we saw the Joker 2, and it was, long story short, it wasn't that great. And we both liked the first film. I really liked Joker 1, and I think you liked Joker 1, right?
It was really good.
And we thought it was really good, and we hoped that the second one was going to be really good. It had the same group of people, same actors and director and everything.
Yeah.
But for some reason, this one was weird.
Yeah.
And I was thinking that I think the director did it on purpose, messed up his own movie on purpose. That's what I'm thinking.
Why would he mess up his own movie on purpose?
Well, when I was watching the film, I noticed that in order to, if you really want to destroy the Joker's image, what you would have to do is you would have to make Harley Quinn deny the Joker, which she did in the movie. She denied him. Have the Joker wear the full clown getup, and while he's at the courthouse on public TV, he denied himself. So Harley Quinn denied him, then the Joker denied himself. After that, he escaped prison, not of his own doing, not some super intelligence. Someone just happened to blow up a car and happened to escape. And then there, he eventually just got caught and went back to prison again. And then he died, right? So when he died, he could no longer be a martyr. He can no longer be a martyr. He can no longer be considered sort of this martyr and inspire the Joker in the future. No, they made him kind of look wimpy and weak. They made Harley Quinn reject him, and then he rejected himself, and then they killed him at the end. So he could no longer be a martyr by destroying his image. He destroyed his image. And the only way, and I have a feeling like the director perhaps didn't like the Joker, or he didn't like how the image of Joker, or that Joker was sort of this icon. So what he did was he intentionally destroyed the Joker.
Yeah, from the movie, in the trailer, I thought that the movie was going to be a lot better. I don't know, it just seemed like it was setting it up to be like a different thing than it actually was. Mm-hmm. And then they also turned it into a musical, which it didn't really make sense, because the first movie, it wasn't a musical, and I know that most of it is supposed to be in his imagination, but I know that, it got a lot of low ratings, and that's probably because the majority of it was like a musical and people weren't expecting that. And not only that, but they did actually kind of destroy the whole image of the Joker. But I think you had made a good point about how maybe the director or whoever put the movie together, they didn't want the Joker to be this powerful image. They didn't want people to idolize the Joker. And then that really got me thinking. I mean, it didn't make the movie better per se, but
no, it just didn't make sense, because you had the Joker film, the first one, which was good, and it seemed like they took it really seriously. And in this one, it didn't seem like they took it as seriously as if it was some sort of experiment which Todd Phillips, the director, was doing. And it just, watching the film, didn't make sense. And why would you make it a musical?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that the studio must have just said, you know what, Todd Phillips, we trust you, do whatever you want. And they allowed him to just do whatever he want, because the first movie made $1 billion on like a $60 million budget. And they said, you know what, you were successful then, just do whatever you want. And then it just turned into this, and he kind of just destroyed the Joker. And I feel like he just did it intentionally, on purpose.
It did seem kind of like somebody that would do that on
purpose. We want destruction, we want action, we want sweet Joker, weird, random, chaos, nihilistic. That's what we came to see, the second Joker, and it turned out to be a fan fiction of a musical where they purposely destroy the image of the Joker so they never have to deal with him ever again. That's sort of the essence of what the film was.
That is what it seemed like. But it's like, at the same time, when you think about the character in itself and how, people, even in the movie, it was showing how they were idolizing him. And maybe the director or whoever didn't want that. Maybe they realized, with all the negative things going on in the world, that we have too many bad characters and in this world.
Maybe.
And they probably,
maybe that was his thought process.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean,
he was basically in prison the entire film.
Yeah.
And then when he managed to escape, Harley Quinn rejected him, and then he went back to prison. He was just in there the whole movie, and then he just lived this fantasy of musicals. And it was just, musicals wasn't even really that good. And It's just the overall. I mean, the acting was good. Everybody was still good actors and everything like that. But it was the script, and it's the script's fault is what resulted in this movie being the way it is. And it just didn't really. I didn't care for any other characters. You were there for Joker and Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
Everybody else just faded out of existence. And then even the Joker wasn't really a Joker. He was just sort of like if you change the title from Joker to something else, and instead of having clown makeup, he has I don't know. He has jester makeup on. You wouldn't think it was a Joker movie. It wouldn't be a Joker movie. It would be some ridiculous film that probably would have made like $30 million if you didn't put the title of Joker on it.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. I think that I want it to be entertained, and I think that the majority of the audience wanted to be entertained by the film, and so I think that's where the disappointment came, because it didn't feel like something that you walk out of and you're like, oh, that's exactly what I imagined the Joker to be, or that's like exactly what I imagined this movie to be like. And I think that even the trailer,
it was trash. That's what it was.
I think the trailer was very misleading, because I don't know, I expected an adventure movie between the Joker and Harley Quinn, and them going on this journey of him going through like the court and like the court system and everything, and like them kind of like making basically a spectacle out of everything.
Yeah. But the thing is that here's what ultimately I think happened is it's something where the new Matrix movie came out. In the new Matrix movie, if you saw the scene where in the movie he was saying or leading to like, oh, we want you to make another one, and then the Matrix or Neo or something was saying, I didn't really want to, and then the executives, no, we're gonna either make it with you or without you. And that was kind of in the theme of that one scene in the new Matrix film, the newest Matrix film. I can't remember what exactly, and I think that's probably what it is in the new Joker movie. Yeah. The first Joker, the director was probably like, this is a standalone movie, it did great, the end. The studio was saying, listen, I'm gonna give you this blank paycheck, make the second film, or we'll make it without you. And then Todd Phillips was like, okay, whatever, I'll go make a Joker movie. And then he destroyed the image, and then he laughed his way to the bank while he destroyed the Joker movie because he didn't want to make the second one. So he says, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to cash a paycheck and then destroy Joker's image and then laugh in your face because I didn't want to make another one.
The second one, when you looked it up, it cost a lot more than it took.
Yeah, it was like almost $200 million or something like that, which doesn't make any sense. Why the movie cost almost $200 million to make when most of it was housed in a prison. Yeah, and it didn't make any sense that this movie should have cost. It was like what, $200 million, close to $200 million. Like, it makes no sense.
Maybe like three.
That's what I'm saying. Scenes. He cashed the paycheck. He made a movie he didn't want to make. He destroyed the image, and then he laughed his way to the bank.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that for those who actually enjoy the Joker character, it would be a disappointing film because you think of the Joker as being a certain way, and like all the other films about the Joker leading up to this one, and even including the first one, you kind of have this like image in your mind of what it might be like, but it's definitely not gonna be like that going into the second film. I do feel like it is disappointing for people who had this idea of what they wanted the film to be like. But I mean, I guess if you're thinking about it in like a moral sense, or like if you're thinking about, oh, maybe the Joker was becoming too powerful, and like, you don't want
real life,
like, yeah, maybe in real life, because you're looking at the film.
Well, we had this conversation previously, and we were talking about gangsters, how a lot of time gangsters can be glamorized.
Yeah.
Within a lot of communities, and especially the black community, they'll be glamorized, and rappers will be glamorized, and going to the club, and drugs and guns and gangster things. And so I was thinking maybe that's what the director sort of saw how the Joker was. So he said the Joker was just this icon or this character that was glamorized, and people gave it too much power, and so he wanted to destroy that. And I thought to myself, this seemed as if you said you thought he was hate. That maybe it was hate. That
maybe
he hated
it. It seemed like somebody that hated the character made that.
And I'm saying
movie.
I'm not too sure that's the case, because if writers did hate the character, usually what the script writers would do is they'll try to make it better in their eyes by doing something or make it somewhat entertaining. But in this movie, it was much more methodical. What he had to do is he really had to think how can I just decimate this character rather than try to change it to make it something I want to be interested. It was more, how can I destroy it? And I found that the best way that which you can destroy the image of the Joker is he would have to be rejected by Harley Quinn. He would have to reject himself, and not just reject himself. He had to wear the clown makeup. He had to go in the public eyes, on public TV, and reject himself. And then after that, make him look like a wimp and then deny himself. Make him look like a wimp, and then he dies. That's what happened.
Yeah,
and that's what happened. He got rejected in all aspects of life, and then he dies at the end, so he couldn't be a martyr. And so that's what happened in the movie.
So it's like the movie is just like over with, it's done.
Yeah.
Like there's no more after that.
Yeah, that's how he did. He wanted to kill the character so nobody can make a movie about him anymore.
Yeah,
and that's what you had to do. You had to completely destroy his character, have everybody reject him, have him reject himself, and then die at the end, so you couldn't make a movie anymore about that character.
It really does seem intentional that
it was very methodical in order to destroy the image. How can I destroy the image
Yeah.
and not make a movie about this character anymore?
He could
And that would be the perfect way to do it.
Yeah, so he won't have to like do it again.
So nobody will be able to make the movie again with Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker.
So like, I don't know, it just seems like
okay. Final thoughts.
Final thoughts.
Yeah.
Maybe they're
just talking about the Joker is getting me angry. Final thoughts.
So maybe there was a purpose to it all, because when we're talking about it, but I don't know. Like I would like to hear more from the director and like whoever made those decisions. I would like to know their thought process and the reasoning behind making those kinds of decisions, and like why the film went the way that it did. I mean, if it's anything other than just getting the paycheck, because like he took the image and he destroyed the image, but there might be a reason behind that. And I don't know, maybe he felt like those kinds of characters were becoming too powerful. Maybe he felt like
we're thinking too much of it, and he just didn't want to make the film.
That's true. But you did make a good point though when you were saying that like maybe he didn't want that image out there. Like he didn't want the Joker image to maybe he wanted to just destroy the Joker image. He didn't want it to become this big thing where people are looking up to that character, and like children are watching this character and they want to become like that character, like you mentioned with characters that are like gangsters and like people who might be harmful to society, and how people build them up to be this great thing, but in reality they're not. They're like destroying communities. So maybe he wanted to do something different from that, but I don't know. I wouldn't know until he said it out of his own mouth.
That's more of a positive mindset of him wanting to well, it's also a fictitious character, and people love the Batman universe, and he's part of that. He plays a big part in the Batman universe, and to destroy a pivotal character in a movie where we anticipated going to see that character doing crazy Joker stuff, and then he just does a complete 180. It's just it destroys expectations, and it makes you not want to have spend time and money on the film.
No,
because it was a trick.
After watching the movie, I was like, dang, I wasted my time watching that.
and also nothing was gained in the film. Like literally nothing happened. At the beginning of the movie he was in prison, at the end of the movie he was in prison, and then nothing really happened and then he dies. Nothing really happened in between. No message was really conveyed other than trying to destroy the character. Nothing pretty much happened in the movie.
It really nothing really did happen in the movie. And I mean if he wanted to give a message, a good moral message, he could have done it differently as well.
He could have he just needed a whole new script is what he needed.
I think
you should have Joker roaming around the city or something, and then he has a massive following, and then chaos ensues or whatever the case may be, or he's in prison and then he escapes. That also could have been interesting too.
Would have been interesting. I would have liked
he became more infamous because he was in prison. The news outlets were about him, and then he escaped, and he becomes even more infamous when he escapes.
I think that would have been really
and then that
interesting.
could have been a quarter of the film of him in prison and escaping, and then the other rest of it could have been
it would have been really cool. I don't know, I had this idea that him and Harley Quinn, like he was gonna escape, right? And then him and Harley Quinn were gonna escape together, and then just be these wild crazy, kooky characters,
Yeah.
but entertaining. And then
That would have been cool, but
yeah.
that wasn't the case.
It wasn't the case. But
Also, what doesn't make sense is they allow this murderer who killed multiple people to be inside this what is it? It's like a program for music, for singing and watching movies, where he's just sort of people who even put themselves in the asylum on purpose, right? Like volunteers. You don't put the psychopaths and killers or serial killers with the people who are just volunteering being there, unhandcuffed, watching a movie with all those people. That doesn't happen. You don't do that.
Right.
And it also doesn't make any sense how she managed to get in the hole with him. He was isolated.
Yeah,
he was
no,
isolated
that part
in his
didn't
cell.
make sense.
And
Because
he-
how did the guards let her in there?
Yeah.
And then they were able to
And they just let her go in there. This
Yeah.
volunteer go into the cell with him when he was punished, and then he was just in the hole himself. And then they managed to let her go in, and then they had sex. And I says, "Oh, it was a dream." But then it turned out later.
It was
she
real.
Said, it turned out later. She said, "Yeah, it was." She
I
confirmed,
thought it was his
you know,
imagination
pregnant,
because usually it's his imagination when
No, but that shows right there that the writer director didn't care about being particularly logical.
No,
because he
that
just
made
wanted
no sense.
just wanted that scene to happen.
Yeah, that made absolutely no sense. Because why would they allow a volunteer out of anyone, a volunteer especially, go into this place where they're supposed to put the worst of the worst prisoners, and they let her go in there, a woman, without any kind of supervision or anything.
Yeah.
And she's just there to be alone with him.
Yeah, but that just shows that gives you the hint of, it's sort of indicative of the entirety of the movie when they don't really care as much, or they would do ridiculous or illogical things into a film just to get the scene across. That means that's how much they really thought about it, and they didn't think about it that much. And so that's just the essence of what the film is when you know that's the case.
Because that never happened. Like, that doesn't happen.
Yeah. But yeah, the Joker too, which wasn't good, disappointing, and I felt nothing. I felt empty inside.
Yeah, I felt that when it got to the end, because in a way it was like, okay, what's gonna happen next? Is it gonna become more interesting? And then it got to the end and it was done, and I was like, wow, I didn't need to watch that. I didn't need to see that.
Yeah, I felt empty inside. All right, thanks for watching.
All right, thank you for watching.
The Joker was trash. Bye.